Right, so just like to make a few things clear. First of all, generics are a fiction perpetrated by the compiler. It's a complete illusion done by the compiler. There's no such thing as a generic class or interface at runtime. It's all done at compile time. Now, if you take a look at these two examples here, here's a class that is all done, that uses list generically, and exactly the same thing here, doing exactly the same thing and using it in the old non-generic way. And you can do this because the old code compiles just like it did before, so there's nothing wrong with this. You can use the code non-generically or generically, like that. And if you examine it byte for byte, the code which gets executed is exactly the same in both cases. There's absolutely no difference. I mean, in here you even find the cast to type foo just like you do over here. There's absolutely no difference between the two. In fact, the class file itself would be identical, except there's a little bit of extra data put into the constant pool, but that's not generally accessible to programs except by some various devious means using reflection and so on. So anyway, the important thing is what gets executed is absolutely identical between the two. Now, what that means is that the compiler that generates code that uses the old pre-generic form of list and array list and all the rest of it, and it inserts any casts. And of course it also checks that anything added to secret in this case is of the correct type, and it won't allow things like object to be added in this case over here. Only things of type foo or of course a subclass of foo. Now this process of converting from list of foo to list and so on is called erasure, and I'll cover that in some detail later. But all of this, of course, has got some consequences, because if we take a look at something like this, where we've got class A here, if we try and implement list of string and list of integer, you're going to get a compiler error, and the reason for that, of course, is because the erasure process will effectively turn it into class A implements list and list, because it erases these types, and that's why you get an error. Now, the old pre-generic type of list here, for example, is referred to as the raw type. Okay,